Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. It's so good to see all of you guys here on this Tuesday afternoon. It is January 27th, 2026, and we are live. Good to have all of you joining me here today. The Jaybefaunt channel is also part of Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can find me there for the JB show on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, as well as for the RBN Roundtable monthly. So if you guys have not already, please go ahead and give a like to the stream. This helps me out to be able to reach more people so that we can help encourage, inspire, and activate as much as we possibly can, especially in the times that we are currently living in. Also, if you guys would like to, you guys can also subscribe to my Substack at jaybefaunt.substack.com. It gives you email notifications whenever I go live, upload clips, or write any articles. So you guys have that there as well. So thank you very much for that. And also, if you guys would like to ask me a question, you guys can do it through QBounty at qbounty.com/JBFaunt. If you guys would like me to react to any videos or have any questions you want me to video react to as well. So thank you so very much for that. Everybody, was a huge news weekend. We're going to be getting into it, that and all the things, because there is a lot to cover. And I want you guys to stay tuned till the end, because I actually have a really good news story that I want to share with you guys. Because a lot of times we talk about things that are very somber and things that sometimes help, they make us lose our faith in humanity. But there's certain things, there are bright spots that I would like to point out as well, so that we can continue to have just a breath, while we are continuing in this fight towards liberation. So thank you so very much to everybody for tuning in all the way to the end in advance. Now, as always, we're going to get into the comments in the chat really quick, and then we're going to go into the stream. We're going to be starting off with Edward coming in saying, "What's up, JB? ICE and the Trump administration needs to go. We need to help one another. The politicians are takers, not givers." Yes. By the way, go ahead and take the poll at the top of the chat. It's asking a question about either defunding or abolishing ICE, or if you disagree with it all, go ahead and take the poll. I would like to know what the audience thinks, especially in regards to these issues, especially after what has happened over the last few weeks, ever since December 31st, and even before that. So let's go ahead and let's get the conversation going as well. We also have Holly coming in and saying, "Hi, JB. I always look forward to this." Thank you so very much. That means a lot. I'm trying to do the best I possibly can with what I have and using my big mouth. So, the universe gave me one, so I might as well use it, right? Terry coming in saying, "Afternoon, JB and comrades. Good to see you, Terry. Nice to have you in here." Jace says, "Hi, JB." Hi, Jace. Good to see you all up in here. And yes, Terry, RIP Michael Parenti. Yes, that was a sad story that happened over the weekend. Michael Parenti had passed as he was a socialist, communist intellectual who wrote a lot of books, gave a lot of speeches about the system and what it entails. In fact, I actually read one of his books on this channel. If you guys would like to, you guys can just go into the playlist under Dirty Truths by Michael Parenti. That's the book that I read on this very channel. If you guys would like to go ahead and take a look at that. That book was, deeply eye-opening. And so I think that that deserves a good watch and listen to. And he also wrote the prolific book Black Shirts and Reds. If you really want to know where this country is headed, I deeply encourage you guys to read Black Shirts and Reds by Michael Parenti. That book really solidifies things in my mind that both parties will not save us. And really, to be honest with you, both parties didn't save Germany either. So it's just a fascinating and eye-opening book. I encourage you guys to give it a good read. Radical Education says, "Well said, RIP to the legend Michael Parenti." Also, I didn't get to do a video about her, but Claudette Colvin. So before Rosa Parks sat down and refused to get up off the bus, it was Claudette Colvin. but they didn't want to use her because, number one, Claudette Colvin was a teenager and she got pregnant as a teenager, was a big no back in the day. You weren't, plus, really, I think she was pregnant out of wedlock. So that was seen as a big no. And then on top of it, she was darker skinned. So the likelihood of people empathizing with her or sympathizing with her would go down based on her skin tone, which really is a huge thing in regards to colorism. So we also lost Claudette Colvin last week as well. So I don't want to miss, speaking about her. And she was the first one that refused to give up her seat off the bus. And I think she was pregnant. And so she didn't want to get up. And good on her for not getting up. But I wish that they had stuck with her instead of having to go with Rosa Parks, because ultimately Claudette Colvin was the first. So I just want to give a shout out to and rest in power Claudette Colvin as well. All right. So what else do we have? Let me see. Roger Meadows, good to see you. He says, my answer in terms of whether or not to abolish ICE comes from with us using leverage. I put it in your DM feed. Feel free to read to the audience. Okay. I'm not reading DMs from on the show anymore, but I appreciate it. If you want to put it in the chat, then we can also do that. Oh yes, and Roger Meadows says, did you mention Gladys West, inventor of GPS? Yes, I completely forgot about that. Gladys West was the inventor of GPS. GPS is an acronym for global positioning. Global positioning system. That was difficult. But yeah, so GPS was invented by a Black woman. So yes, Miss Gladys West as well. All right, so let's get into the stories today, because these are some really significant stories that we want to jump into. I have the big story that everybody's been talking about. I'm going to give my 2 cents in about it. Then there's a reaction that I want to do in regards to job hunting. We got to talk about that. And then we also have our news story today. So let's take a look at the thumbnail and then we shall begin, y'all. So later in the show today, we're going to be talking about great news out of Jones High School, local high school in the area. And I am so excited for them. This was a great news story. So I want you guys to stay tuned for that, because not only is it a great news story, but it's also local to me. So I cannot wait to talk about that. A little bit later, we're going to be doing a reaction and talking about how they're playing you. What in the world is going on? Well, Damon Cassidy has talked about LinkedIn, and I found this to be not only eye-opening, but it also confirmed some of my suspicions, as well as it really solidified my resolve to go, to search in other areas when it comes to job hunting, because I am currently looking for a job too, and it's hard out here in these streets. But first, we're going to be talking about Alex Pretti and Kristi Noem's character assassination of Alex Jeffrey Pretti. And so we're going to be talking about this story, how he was murdered by ICE agents over the weekend. So we're going to be beginning with that story here with Liar, Liar. Let's get into this. If you've been living under a rock, you probably don't know about the story about Alex Jeffrey Pretti. Alex Jeffrey Pretti was a nurse with the VA hospital, and he was in the ICU unit of the hospital. And so in protesting Donald Trump's ICE, who has been doing ICE raids, and the thing is, like, the ICE raids they're not in greater number than any other president, but as far as the intensity and the notoriety, it is greater, and we are seeing a lot more of it. But make no mistake, both parties And all of the rest of the administrations have used these tactics since ICE was created back in early 2000s. And so Alex Pretti was shot and killed by ICE. And there's a lot of lies that are being spoken of in regards to Alex Pretti. And I'm not going to be able to show the video due to the sake of, YouTube guidelines, but I can basically describe the video because I've seen it multiple times. So out in the streets, you have a gentleman by the name of Alex Pretti who is kind of tall. And so he's there basically as an observer. He's has his phone out. He's recording ICE. And so he is in the street. And so what ends up happening is the police push him back to get into the sidewalk because he's literally recording what is going on. And be honest with you, they are recording and they are pretty much pissed off because they don't want to be recorded, even though it is within Alex Pretti's legal right to do so, as long as he's not interfering with their investigation and detaining of an individual. And so we all know that ICE is, we all know how I feel about the police, right? It is no surprise to anybody. So when I say that ICE agents essentially are great value police officers, I'm not holding back in what I'm saying, right? They are Timu police officers. Okay. So what ends up happening is one of the ICE agents goes up to a woman who is also blowing a whistle. And people are asking, well, why are they blowing whistles? It's to alert anybody that is an immigrant, documented or undocumented, it does not matter, that ICE is in the area. And because they have been detaining people, including American citizens, then they might be roughed up, beat up. There was a 17-year-old, I think a week and a half ago, that was taken by ICE, put in the van, and then he was slammed into the ground, taken into the van, driven like a mile and a half, 2 miles away. And then after he said it and showed them that he was an American citizen, they got mad. They slammed him into the ground outside the van and then left him there. And he had to walk all the way back to his job. And he was working at a Target and they dropped him off at a Walmart. So they've been doing these things. Keith Porter Jr. was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent on December 31st during New Year's Eve. You have Renee Good that was murdered. She was shot in the face by ICE a couple of weeks back. Renee Good was a white woman and she was shot in the face. And then she also suffered through character assassination by the state. And so now the same thing goes for Alex Pretti. He is also being character assassinated by the state as well. Now, continuing on with what happened. So Alex Pretti decides to help the woman who is blowing the whistle because an ICE agent shoves the woman into the ground. And so Alex Pretti tries to help her up. And in doing so, the ICE agent pepper sprays Alex Pretti in the face. And then they attack Alex Pretti and get on top of him. Now, Alex Pretti has a concealed permit gun. He is within his legal right to have, right? And don't nobody come into the comments and talk about, oh, you shouldn't bring a gun to the protest. Then say that to Kyle Rittenhouse then. Anyway, so he has a gun and a holster behind him. And it's in a holster within his waist. But his hands are completely free. And he had one hand on his phone using the camera. The other hand was completely free and his hands are up. So then they attack him and they wrestle him to the ground. And then one finds out that he has a gun, but he takes the gun out the holster and throws it away. And then while he's on the ground, unarmed, unarmed, they shot bullets into him. And it wasn't just one, it wasn't just two, it wasn't just three. If I can remember correctly, it's somewhere between 6 and 8 shots were fired into an unarmed man lying face down on his back. And so they murdered him. All because he was observing and he was trying to help out a woman. And all this is caught on camera from different vantage points. So you can't come and say, oh, well, we don't know exactly what happened. We only saw from one angle and the sun was in their eye and blah, blah, blah. No. You can't do that. There's multiple angles. And in fact, it's like, what investigation needs to be done? This is a open and shut case. Cold-blooded murder. Right then and there. There's no amount of body cams. There's no amount of oh, we need to do better training. You can't get that out of this. And so I'm going to show you guys what Kristi Noem said, the Department of Homeland Security secretary, who lies through her porcelain veneer teeth in order to make the state look good, in order to make these KKK riders. I know everybody keeps saying Gestapo. The Gestapo got who they are from the KKK and the slave patrols. That's who they got it from. Let's put it where it really belongs, okay? Fascism is an American invention. Anyways, let me share this with you guys because I wanted to explain it because I can't really show the video, but let's show this. Here's the press conference that Kristi Noem was talking. And after all I just told you, listen to what she says.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officer...
Lie number one. He approached them with a 9mm handgun. He did not brandish his gun. He did not show them his gun. They had no idea until they saw it and they screamed gun. They had no idea he had a gun and a holster behind his back that he did not have his hands on whatsoever. So they're making it seem like some blue-haired lib with septum piercing is waving a gun in their face. And next thing you know, they're like, I fear for my life. We have to protect ourselves. No, you have a bunch of scaredy cats with badges and guns that do not know what in the hell they're doing. Or they do know what the hell they're doing. They just don't give a damn. And they unload not one, not two, not three, multiple shots into an unarmed man once the gun is taken away. She said, what now?
U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
Okay, so he had his hands up. He had his hands up. How is that violent? Kristi, how is that violent? And this is what I meant when I wrote my article, is that now, see, white people being brutalized by police is not new, right? It's not something that we've never seen before. But what is new or more apparent now is that there are now character assassinations against white people that has been similarly used against Black people since time immemorial. So that's new. It's now, oh my God, we got to assassinate the character of this person in order to make us look good. And remember what I said? If they do it to us, they'll do it to you. And so now we saw that with Renee Good. Now we're seeing that with Alex Pretti. And it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. Right? Let's continue on.
Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Okay, so first of all, they didn't know he had a gun. And so how are they fearing for their safety if they had no idea he had a gun? Number one. Number two, somebody took the gun off of him that he legally was permitted to have because he had a legal permit to have a gun, right? And don't come in here and tell me, well, he shouldn't have had a gun when, I'm sorry, how many protests have I seen where you have a lot of people, particularly a lot of white people, particularly a lot of white men, right, who are marching with rifles strapped to them and protesting their Second Amendment rights. And now, because you have somebody that is literally standing up against the state, but unarmed, you guys have a problem with it now. You know what's funny about all this? Even the NRA is like, hold up. Y'all done lost your mind. Even the NRA now is speaking out against Trump on this one. And so the whole, oh my God, they fear for their lives. None of them. No. ICE is just a bunch of dudes who peaked in high school that want to bully everybody else because they're a bunch of freaking losers. That's basically all they are. And what do you give somebody who peaked in high school? So a little bit of authority and a firearm, that's a dangerous combination. There's no bravery there. There's no chutzpah. It's just fear. They're skilled. They're so skilled. That's all they are. And the problem is you have these people who are doing this, and some Americans are like, yeah, get them. But it always is like that until it turns on you. And some people are in denial. Oh, that's never going to turn on us. All right, but a lot of white people didn't think that character assassinations would be happening to them like this, but yet here we are. And this is why I say nobody's free until we're all free. But for some of y'all, you put a little asterisk by that phrase. Well, we gotta we can't let everybody free. We gotta have some marginalization of certain people with certain immutable characteristics. So Kristi Noem continues further.
The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
So, you know what's funny about not having ID? I can't tell you how many times I've actually encountered white people who don't have their ID on them. Who, to them, it's just like, nah, I don't need it. Because they never really had to need ID unless they're either driving, or if they're not driving, then if they have to go someplace where they need to buy alcohol or if they needed to go someplace, for, government building or, something like that. But as far as taking their ID everywhere, I've met many who just don't bring their ID everywhere they go. It's almost like you only just bring it with you like when you think you're going to need it. Versus those of us who are Black, our IDs are always on us. Always. Look, like Bill Withers said, was it Bill Withers? Correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes to our IDs, it's always and forever. And so that's the thing. It's always on us. Like the moment we step out the house, you walk up to any Black person and be like, hey, you always carry your ID on you? They'll be like, sure. Yep. Boom. There you go. Because we have to. Because history has taught us that if we don't, it gets us even deeper trouble for no reason, because would just be walking while Black. It's happened to me. I know it's happened to others. So what Kristi Noem has done is basically assassinate the character of a Veterans Administration nurse. A nurse that is just trying to help his fellow citizens. Let me share this as well. Well, I have a feeling I'm gonna get there's a troll in the comments. I haven't even looked at the comments yet, but if somebody tells me there's a troll in there. Anyways, because whenever I do stories like this, a troll always shows up. Anyways, let's go here.
Thank you so much for doing this, and would welcome also any other guidance from Chief Scott. Did the 37-year-old who had a license to carry, did he brandish a gun? And at what point did law enforcement retrieve the gun and also the magazines from him? Can you offer clarity on
this
where
individual showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers? They responded according to their training and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. This is
Kyle Rittenhouse did. And yet y'all made excuses for him. You know what's funny about all this? The fact that actually Kyle Rittenhouse is actually taking the side of Alex Pretti. Kyle Rittenhouse is on Alex Pretti's side. Hang on. Let me find that tweet. Because Kyle Rittenhouse literally is taking Alex Pretti's side right now. He's like, wait, I did it, so... That's crazy, man. Let me see. I know I should have had it up already. I'm sorry, but I do want to share this because it adds to how crazy this is. The fact that you got Kyle Rittenhouse actually contradicting Kristi Noem. All right. So this came out yesterday after the Alex Pretti. This came out after the Alex Pretti murder. After Kristi Noem said, I don't know who comes here to a protest with a firearm. Here's what Kyle Rittenhouse said. Y'all, take a look. He said, carry everywhere. It is your right. Hashtag shall not be infringed. Kyle Rittenhouse essentially underhandedly said, yeah, Alex Pretti was basically within his entire right to have his weapon on him because he expressed his Second Amendment right. Even so, the people that everybody loves to defend and say, oh, well, he was doing self-defense. And yet, self-defense is not even applied to Alex Pretti. By the way, he did not approach them and try to violate them. In fact, he was trying to save a woman from being assaulted, and then he got pepper sprayed. That's what happened. If you look up the video, which there are many different angles that you can do, go ahead and go on Twitter and take a look at it. I'm telling you right now, everything that Kristi Noem said is BS. She is bullshitting you. Why? Because the actual truth makes her, the DHS, and the Trump administration look awful. And it's kind of hard to make Trump look awful because he already looks awful as it is. So that's what Kyle Rittenhouse said. Now, don't get me wrong. Like Kyle Rittenhouse, I disagree with him on a lot of things. Pretty much almost everything. But on that point, look, it is his right to carry everywhere. You know, at least in places where it's not a government institution. At least. And so why are we demonizing somebody for expressing the Second Amendment right? Why are we doing that? What are we doing here? Let me see. I had something else that I wanted to share. Yes, this is what I wanted to share. All right. Let me share this with you guys as well. Here it goes. Bam. NRA slams federal prosecutors posing about Minneapolis shooting, dangerous and wrong. Says the National Rifle Association cited a Trump appointee for rushing to judgment on Saturday's deadly shooting carried out by federal agents in Minneapolis. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli, a top federal prosecutor in Los Angeles, posted on social media that if a person approaches law enforcement with a gun, there's a good chance that that officer will be justified in shooting that person. The NRA reacted to the prosecutor's comments, calling them dangerous and wrong. The gun rights group said prosecutors should not demonize law-abiding citizens and should wait until full investigation is complete. This is the NRA. What in the hell are we in? Are we in the Twilight Zone? It's the NRA, y'all. It says, so far, there's no evidence to suggest the victim in Minneapolis, 37-year-old Alex Pretti, pointed a gun at federal officers involved in an immigration enforcement operation. Video from the scene does not show Pretti pointing a weapon at anyone. And you will not see it because it's not there. It does not happen. However, the 37-year-old did have a gun on him, and officers tried to wrestle the weapon away. The weapon was behind him in his holster. Says Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem says Pretti resisted officers, but he was just trying to help out the woman. Oh, so you want him to accept it and just be slammed into the ground and possibly be killed again? Is that where we're at now? Are we going to be at the just comply now? The same people who want to wear camo and run in the woods with a semi-automatic that are trying to train just in case the government gets tyrannical. And yet, when the government does get tyrannical, then these same people will say, well, you should have just complied. That yellow "Don't Tread on Me" flag, give me that damn flag. Give me that flag. You don't need it. You don't deserve it. You don't believe in it. Give it to me. Or burn it, whatever. But no, you don't actually mean that. Because here's the crazy part. The people who got that "Don't Tread on Me" flag, it's always funny when they have that flag and they talk about government tyranny, but they never, ever, ever want to see the government tyranny that's being committed against Native Americans and Black Americans in this country. The hypocrisy of it all. And now they're doing it to their own. Oh, we should just let them do what they have to do. At the risk of what? Our civil liberties? You want them to risk our you want to risk our civil liberties? All because, right? You got this butterflies in your stomach over Trump? Is that what it is? So stupid. Says the fatal shooting has sparked protests across the country. Minneapolis police chief said Pretti was a lawful gun owner and had permit to carry. That was from the police chief. SLE responded to NRA by accusing them of mischaracterizing his original message. He says, I never said it was legally justified to shoot a law-abiding concealed carriers. My comment addressed agitators approaching law enforcement with a gun and refusing to disarm. My advice stands: if you value your life, do not aggressively approach law enforcement while armed. He did. Lord and Lord, these people are making up scenarios in their head and thinking it's the truth. Watch the video. Just watch it. And you're not going to come away with some look and be as objective as you possibly can. The crazy part is, and I was going to share this, but I don't know if it's going to get copyright claim, but Harvey Levin of TMZ, right? They're a gossip. They're celebrity gossip. And yet they're covering the story too. And Harvey Levin said that he looked at it from a very objective standpoint. And remember, Harvey Levin's a lawyer. And he said, this is absolutely 100% cold-blooded murder. 100%. TMZ. So it's crazy how somebody like a Kristi Noem will fabricate lies in order to make the state look good, when in reality, she's not protecting people like Alex Pretti. She damn sure ain't protect Renee Good. And we know damn well she definitely would never protect people like Keith Porter Jr. And she probably would smile at death and shooting, even though this wasn't by an ICE agent, it was by police, at the shooting of Sonia Massey. Because it's been done to us so many times before ICE was ever even formed. Beaten, maimed, killed. And so, yeah, this is what's happening when it comes to ICE. This is what's happening with people like Kristi Noem, right? There is also something else that I want to share as well. It's a news story that recently came out that I would like to share with you guys, because ultimately it's getting bad, y'all. It says FBI agent resigns after unsuccessfully trying to probe ICE agent who killed Renee Good. So it says Tracy Mergen, an FBI supervisor in the Minneapolis field office, has resigned after unsuccessfully trying to investigate ICE agent Jonathan Ross, who fatally shot Renee Good. Mergen resigned after being pressured by the FBI's Washington Bureau to discontinue her probe into Ross. It comes as Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said there is currently no basis for a criminal civil rights investigation into Good's killing. And that's the crazy part, man. Right? They literally held a general strike the day before Alex Pretti was murdered. There were thousands. It says over 50,000 people took to the streets in downtown Minneapolis. That's a lot of people, man. 50,000 people? And I'm sorry, I was wrong. He was shot 10 times in less than 5 seconds. It says the video shows Pretti coming to the defense of a woman who was shoved to the ground by a federal officer. Then the officer sprays Pretti with a chemical agent before tackling him into the street. So the whole thing about Pretti coming after officers, every accusation is a confession because it was the officers that actually escalated things. It says Pretti had no criminal record, had a legal permit to carry a firearm, which he never took out. Now, his parents spoke out. It says, we are heartbroken, but also very angry. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand and his empty left hand is raised above his head while trying to protect a woman ICE just pushed down, all while being pepper sprayed. And I don't want to hear a damn thing from the mayors or the governor, because if you really were about protecting the lives of people in Minnesota, you would do it, but you're not going to. I wanted to read the full statement from Alex Pretti's parents. I'm not sure if I have it ready here. But I do want to share this as well. Let me make sure I have this. Let me see. Okay. Okay, let me share this with you guys too. Because the Trump administration is looking horrible right now. So it says Minnesota Solicitor General sends letter to judge in lawsuit against Trump administration for Operation Metro Surge. And the state of Minnesota's lawsuit against Trump administration over Operation Metro Surge, Minnesota Solicitor General Liz Kramer and Minneapolis officials have sent a letter to U.S. District Judge Kate Menendez, pleading with her to take action and provide the state with what they call urgent emergency relief it needs. Plaintiffs and plaintiffs' communities are in urgent need of a court-ordered respite in the irreparable injuries defendants continue to cause to their health, safety, education, welfare of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and indeed the entire state of Minnesota. This cannot continue. We need court to act to stop the surge before yet another resident dies because of Operation Metro Surge. They're asking to put the parties back in their positions before the surge began and to immediately prevent even further irreparable harms to plaintiffs' ability to protect the public health, welfare, safety, and education. This will allow the courts with the status quo duly preserved to examine the facts and the law in due course to consider what's more durable relief. There's another piece that I wanted to, this one right here. Judge orders Trump administration officials to preserve evidence from shooting. A federal judge in Minnesota has blocked the Trump administration from destroying or altering evidence related to today's fatal shooting of Pretti. The ruling comes after Minnesota state officials filed a lawsuit in Minnesota's U.S. District Court against officials with the Department of Homeland Security and other agencies seeking a temporary restraining order that would prohibit federal officials from destroying evidence. Judge Eric Tostrad's order includes any evidence that defendants and those working on their behalf removed from the scene and or evidence that defendants have taken into their exclusive custody. The suit filed by the state attorney general includes the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension as plaintiffs and names among the defendants, the leadership of several federal agencies, including DHS. The law alleges evidence was taken from the scene of today's shooting, and it urges plaintiffs will suffer irreparable harm to their ability to investigate and enforce state criminal laws and protect the people of Minnesota. Our office has jurisdiction to review this matter for potential criminal conduct by federal agents involved and will do so. Said the DHS did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Okay, so essentially, there is a chance that the Trump administration and DHS could interfere and tamper with the evidence. That's where we're at, folks. Lawlessness is really all up and through the White House. So with this shooting of Alex Pretti, with the lying of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, and with the many people that we have seen harmed unnecessarily by ICE, should ICE stick around? Should we defund them? Should we abolish it? What are your thoughts? I'm going to take a look at the poll and see what you guys say, because I am very curious as to what you guys think in regards to the poll. And if you are watching on Twitter, or if you're watching on Kick or Rumble, you guys can go to the YouTube side and vote as well. So I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see what I see. Very interesting indeed. It's from 29 votes. It says, do you think that ICE should be defunded or abolished? 7% said defund ICE, but keep it. 90% said abolish ICE. And 3% said neither, keep ICE as is. So 90% said abolish ICE. We didn't have ICE in the 90s, by the way. ICE wasn't created until, I think, 2003? Something like that. So it's very interesting. I am what you call a police abolitionist, and I do not think that this system is working for working and poor people in this country. So therefore, and the function of law enforcement in this country is to protect capital. It is to protect property. It is not to protect people. And as the Supreme Court has ruled in this country, they do not have a constitutional duty to protect you. And this also means that DHS and really, entities like ICE are only there to protect the property of the wealthy. That's what they're there for. It's not really to protect us. They really don't care about protecting us. And so this is why I will be voting. If I were watching, I would be voting abolish. But tell me what you think, because ultimately, there's dialogue that needs to happen here. But ultimately, something has to change. And I call for full systemic change, because anything less than that will keep things just the way they are and make things worse. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. Thank you so very much. Let's get into the comments, y'all. All right, so I'm going to check on Kick. Let's see what Kick has to say. All the people on the Kick side, say hi. All right. We're good on Kick. That's good. All right. Let's go into, see if we have any Rumble rants. The rants and the Rumble and the rants. Ooh, got a few. All right. Well, all right. Bam. There we go. All right. All right. So let's share a screen. All righty. Thank you very much for this hemp card. He says, for Martin Luther King Day, we should all hand out leaflets about the 1999 Memphis court case. The King family won, proving the CIA killed him. Ooh, I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you very much for that, hemp card. Hang on. I'm going to have to look into that. Hey. Hemp card giving me some receipts. I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you very much for this hemp card. It says, Coretta Scott King, quote, we have done what we can to reveal the truth, and we now urge you as members of the media, and we call upon elected officials and other persons of influence to do what they can to share the revelation of this case to the widest possible audience. That was from the King family press conference on December 9th of 1999. Why is she so ignored? That's a great question as to why is she so ignored. She's ignored because it really puts a stain on our institutions, because they spent all these years propping up King because they can whitewash him, right? It's harder to whitewash Malcolm X or Fred Hampton, Kwame Ture, George Jackson, Assata Shakur. It's harder to whitewash them, right? But they were able to do it with MLK. But then, because he's now so beloved, the fact that he has a birthday that is commemorated every single year, well, then if you find out that the CIA had a hand in murdering him, allegedly, wow. Everybody's going to look at the U.S. government and be like, you guys are monsters. And for them, it's like kicking a puppy, right? Like, who does that? And so, of course, it doesn't get much coverage, right? And Martin Luther King Jr. was more radical than people thought, because the narrative is being painted by, the corporate powers that be who own our government as being just this guy that was just for racial justice, when in reality, he wasn't a race reductionist and he wasn't a class reductionist. He was for both race and class at the same time. And he also was a massive advocate for reparations for American freedmen. And on top of it, he was also anti-capitalist. So because of that, they tried to, whitewash him as much as they could. And the fact that he agreed more he always had a lot of overlapping agreement with Malcolm X, but it felt like there was almost like a Venn diagram between them both, and it was becoming almost a perfect circle between them, which meant danger not just to the establishment, but also to Zionists too, because MLK was kind of shaky on the Israel question, and he, probably was migrating more towards, should Israel exist? And so, of course, that plus on the economic aspect with, the sanitation workers, organizing the sanitation workers, that was, class as well as identity coming together, mixing, and showing that it was a threat to the system. So the mixing of class and identity coming together always is the most dangerous to institutional power. This is why the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army were considered so dangerous. This is why the White Panthers were also considered dangerous, because they were also trying to be in support of the Black Panthers. This is why the Young Lords were also considered to be dangerous, right? The Native Americans who intersected and also rejected capitalism, they were seen as also dangerous as well. So that's the thing. And this is why they don't want people to know the real truth about any of these people. And the ones who were more staunchly anti-capitalist, as well as for Black liberation, more stronger than MLK, well, they really couldn't do much with them. So that's why they didn't get whitewashed. They got demonized. But yeah. All right. So let's see if we have any super chats. I think we're okay on that front. All right, so let me see. All right, good to see you, Bryce Smith, and Kurt Boss is in here too. See, Edward says ICE was trained by the ruthless IDF. Kristi lied. ICE didn't know Pretti had a gun until they searched his pocket. Yeah, they had no idea. Thank you very much for that. CBC voters in the chat saying happy Tuesday, JB. Good to see a CBC voter. Kurt Boss said first they came for Assange. First they came from Mumia. I mean, man, it's horrible, man. The way they do these things, man. Whoop. Let me see. Roger Meadow says those calling for abolish ICE don't come over here to Freedman community unless you're adding in qualified immunity in the same bill. Qualified immunity needs to be abolished as well, because I mean, if you kill somebody that's unarmed, you deserve to lose. You deserve your livelihood to be under threat, as far as your job and your financial resources. You deserve to be, sued in the court of law. Personally, you deserve it. I mean, that's my whole thing. So yeah, agreed, Roger. Miss Fairbank, good to see you. All right, let's continue on. And yes, Dana, agreed. She's so full of it, her eyes are brown. Sila says a group of ICE officials were fearful for one armed white guy on the ground. All national to local law enforcement contacts and funds should be voided. The cash grab by divested towns. And here's the funny, crazy part. Police would never even intervene with ICE if they are attacking somebody who they know is a U.S. citizen. Like, let's say you're a U.S. citizen and you're being attacked by ICE, and a local police officer sees it. A local police officer wouldn't do a damn thing. I dare them to. I dare them to actually serve and protect their community. I dare them. They don't have the guts to serve and protect because that's not in their mandate. Unless you're capital that belongs to some big business owner, they're not really going to protect you. That's just how it is, man. Welcome to America. Let me see here. Thank you very much to Deb for reposting the stream. Appreciate it very much. Radical Education says that is a meta reference from Kit. I think you've seen him on HL and Cat. Oh, okay. I didn't get to see that. Thank you very much. Sean Rocker says abolish ICE and defund the police. Yeah. Let me see. Good to see Lee Argent coming in saying, hey guys, how are we today? We are good. We all right. Roger says if you watch the full Rittenhouse video recorded by a drone, you'll see the guy he killed. Rosenbaum was stalking him, daring to be shot, chasing Kyle, who did everything he could to get away from dude. I didn't get to see that, so I'll reserve my judgment for if I ever see that video. Yep. Whole girl says his parents set the record straight. Yes. And by the way, one thing that his parents did say, I was trying to look for the actual statement from the parents, but one of the things they said is keep talking about the story. Do not stop talking about it. And do not let them character assassinate. Do not let them character assassinate Alex Pretti. And the thing is like, this is what Black people try to do all the time when somebody who is, shot by police. Like, we did it with Trayvon Martin. We did it with Michael Brown. We did it with Sonia Massey. We did it with Philando Castile. We're doing it with so many people because we did it with George Floyd. Like, how many times George Floyd, his character was assassinated, all because they wanted justification on killing somebody like him. They wanted to justify it. And so, yes, when it comes to people like Alex Pretti, yes, make sure to continue to push and tell the truth that, DHS and the Trump administration doesn't want people to know, right? I found it. I am glad. Because this is what his family said. Says, we are heartbroken and also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around the hero term lightly. However, his last thought and act was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand and is empty in his left hand and is raised above his head while trying to protect the woman ICE just pushed down, all the while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. Thank you. So And the thing is like, you know, this is why it's so important. And I try to be as consistent as possible because I try to do this with, you know, Black people, particularly a lot of Black Americans that get character assassinated in the news, because we just so happen to be Black, right? But now that it's being done to white people, that's also equally not right. And so I have to call it out too. So the character assassination of Alex Pretti is absolutely horrible and wrong. And people, you know, we should be humanizing people like Alex Pretti. You know, we should see ourselves in people like that because that's what I want for people to see in us as Black people, right? Don't you want people to see that, you know, the humanity within you? You know, I would want somebody to see the humanity in you just like they see the humanity in me and vice versa. That's why consistency matters. And then while we're talking about humanizing, here is Alex. This was Alex Pretti when he was at work as an ICU nurse.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
That's who he was. So when people talk about, you know, character assassinating somebody because, you know, of state violence, I want you to find out the part of them that you see yourself in, the part of them that is the most human, and let your compassion lead you. And do this with everybody. Because we as Black people, our characters have been assassinated over and over and over again. And we have tried time and time again to push back against the narrative, and it just doesn't stick. Because so many people want to believe what state-sanctioned violent actors say and do. So continue to keep telling the truth, man. You know, it shouldn't happen to him, and it shouldn't happen to anybody. Those of us who are Black, we know that all too well. All right, so let's get into the next subject that we have here. Make sure I move that. Oh, let me thank the patrons on Patreon first. Got to make sure to thank them because that is the Lord's work. All right, so thank you very much to all the patrons on Patreon. Here are the tiers. All righty. All right, so we start off with Mega Jaybefaunters, Super Duper Jaybefaunters, Super Jaybefaunters, Jaybefaunters. Then we have Comrade, Solidarity, and JB members. And thank you so much to all new members for becoming a patron on Patreon. Without you guys, I can't do this. And so you guys make this possible. This is a grassroots funded channel. Thank you so very much to all of you. And if you guys would like to, you guys can always, if you guys don't want to do that through Patreon, you guys can also support me through PayPal, which is also linked in the description down below. All right. Let's get into the next story. Well, story, not really story, but this is going to be a reaction. And so I want to make sure I get into this one because this one really like got me, because I'm seriously looking for a job and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, why in the world are we spinning our wheels right now constantly and we're not getting anywhere? So just making sure I have enough room here. All right. Let's go here. Let me see. And all right. Let me make sure I have the volume up, because we need that volume. Pump it up. All right. So let's get into this next story. Of course, we talked about character assassination of Alex Pretti by Kristi Noem. And so that shouldn't have happened, but yet it did. And so now we are going to try to tell the truth, like always. But next, we're going to be getting into a reaction by Damon Cassidy. He says they're playing you. So we're going to be getting into this next story of it's all bullshit. Let's get into this right now. I've been looking for a job since October. And because I started in October, I wanted to wait a few months post kidney transplant to make sure that everything was copacetic with me so that I could be able to be healthy enough to work and be around other people, because, you know, immune system suppressed. And with that, I decided that I was going to re-up my LinkedIn account, because, well, if I want to look for a job, what's the best place to go than a social media site that is dedicated to people who are professionals or workers looking for a job, looking for a JLB. Been on there since October. I ain't got no job. Is it working? Well, Damon Cassidy did some investigating. And by the way, I'm not crazy and you're not crazy either. We're going to get into this because I actually appreciate this video. And I think this video is actually should have more views, because ultimately, what are we doing here? This is all a farce, and LinkedIn should be ashamed. Let's get into this. Damon Cassidy titled this, "LinkedIn is everything wrong with society." That's right, wrong. So let's get into this.
According to LinkedIn's hiring data, less than 0.1% of the platform's job applications actually result in a hire, with over a quarter of all of its job listings now estimated to be ghost jobs. And with 54% of posts being AI generated, it raises the question, why has LinkedIn become nothing more than a corporate cesspool? Well, obtaining a lifelong career was once as straightforward as answering a job post in the local newspaper, responding to a help wanted sign in a window, or securing an in-person interview after handing your resume directly to a hiring manager. Today's modern job search, filled with deceitful listings, cringy posts, and endless keyword optimization, has essentially nothing to do with hiring the right candidate and everything to do with abusing the system designed to secure the cheapest possible labor. In 2007, the immigration law firm Cohen & Grigsby hosted its annual immigration law update, where the vice president of marketing discussed the ways they advise employers on how to use job applications to fulfill the legal minimums to avoid hiring American applicants.
Keeping in mind our goal, and our goal is clearly not to find a qualified and interested U.S. worker.
If they don't like the salary, if they don't like the work location, they're not interested. Or if they just don't like the job itself, they're not interested. Those are ways we can disqualify them, get them out of the market, and focus on the ones who might be more qualified. If it gets to the point where somebody's looking like they're very qualified, we ask them to have the manager of that specific position step in and go over the qualifications with them. If necessary, schedule an interview, go through the whole process to find a legal basis to disqualify them for this particular position.
And because these
Oh, snap. These jobs don't want to hire you because you're a U.S. citizen. Because you're more expensive. And the shareholders want to keep more of that money for themselves. Yeah. You know what's crazy? And somebody said this a few months ago, and it makes so much sense now. You know who the most expensive worker to hire is? A cisgendered Christian white man. Straight. That is literally the most expensive worker you can hire. Y'all, that was from Professor Richard Wolff. That is the most expensive worker in the country because they have none of the disqualifiers that would bar them from being employed. Basically being somebody who's marginalized. So let's say somebody is all the things that I described: straight, white, Christian, cisgender, male, all those, right? And let's say they get paid for that particular position nationally. The top is like $40 an hour, right? White woman will probably get $23, $24. Black men will probably get maybe 23, 24, maybe 22, 21. Black women, probably 17, 18. And don't let them be queer or disabled or an immigrant. And so the thing is like, that's literally who the most expensive is. If you're an American citizen, that means you're going to expect pay commensurate with your fellow citizens. And to them, to these corporate dictators, the most expensive people to hire is American citizens. So guess what? They don't want to hire American citizens. They don't. That's not an immigration problem. That's a corporate dictator problem. That's a capitalism problem. And so that's one of the things that a lot of people need to contend with. This is why I don't really side with people who have disdain for immigrants, because who is the one that is shortchanging us and then also exploiting people who are coming here? They're under a lot of times they're under duress already. Some aren't, because they're actually doing okay in their home country, and so they want to come here. But there are many who aren't doing very well. And so that's used as leverage by these corporate oligarchs, by these corporate dictators, by these capitalists in order to exploit them. Because they can't do the same thing to us American citizens, because we don't stand under threat to be deported. Deported where? You can't deport us. What are you going to do? Deport me to Nigeria? I can trace my fifth great grandfather all the way back to 16 years right after the American Revolution. Deport me where? So they can't do it with us, but they can do it under threat to other people. And so therefore they use that instead. And this is why they also don't want to hire American citizens, because they want to use undocumented immigrants as well as documented immigrants and abuse and use them because they want more money in their dividend checks. So the real enemy is the corporate parasites. Let's continue on. This is why I'm all for international solidarity.
These loopholes have not changed whatsoever since this clip was recorded. The dominance of these online job platforms has simply automated and scaled this exact performative hiring behavior, transforming exploitation into the default hiring process. According to Resume Genius, in their analysis of Bureau of Labor Statistics JOLTS data from June of 2025, 30% of job openings never resulted in a hire, meaning that more than 2.2 million roles never actually materialized or remaining posted on job search platforms, where they estimate LinkedIn alone may be hosting as many as 1.7 million ghost job listings. And despite 75% of employers claiming they are struggling to fill job vacancies, the second highest rate in 2 decades, a 2022 study of over 300 job applications submitted by Business.com's departing interns found that only 12% received any response, just 5% expressed interest, and not a single application resulted in a hire, where employers were actually more likely to ghost candidates when the graduate met over 90% of the listed requirements. When this is compared to unemployment data, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that among college graduates aged 22 to 27, computer science and computer engineering majors now face some of the highest unemployment rates in the country, more than double those of biology and even art history graduates. While across all computer occupations, unemployment has risen to over 3% by 2025. At the same time, the share of IT workers inside the H-1B program has surged to over 65% over the last 5 years, proving that not only has hiring become largely performative, but that LinkedIn, as the largest professional networking platform in the world, has become the perfect device to sell the illusion that America simply lacks the skills, motivation, and work ethic needed to meet the demands of the modern economy. And while
So it's all a farce. It's a farce. It's there to make you think you're doing something. When you're doing all these applications, when you're posting and trying to connect with people on LinkedIn, and then people are sending you messages, it's all a farce. It's not actually there. That app actually is completely unnecessary. It's taking up data on your phone. It's taking up data. Because they're not really hiring anybody. They're not actually grabbing people on LinkedIn like that. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. On LinkedIn, I'm looking at my profile right now. Like, it just, it's trash. It's just fancy looking trash now. And so maybe back in the day it was effective, but not anymore. And we'll see why as we look in further.
those jobs serve additional purposes beyond outsourcing, with 62% of employers admitting they post them to make their employees feel replaceable, and 77% reporting increased productivity as workers fear losing their jobs. The reality is that even without those incentives, LinkedIn has become the host of an immense amount of additional fraud. A 2021 Bleeping Computer investigation revealed that virtually anyone can post a job under a company's LinkedIn account, creating fake listings that are nearly indistinguishable from official ones, without the company even being aware that it had happened. In their tests, a researcher posted a job on behalf of Bleeping Computer itself, routed applications directly to a test email using LinkedIn's Easy Apply feature, and received dozens of resumes within a few hours. And because those applications were routed to an email rather than an external website, The listings bypassed LinkedIn security features entirely, and company super admins were unable to remove the fake post without LinkedIn flagging the account itself. And while LinkedIn claims it proactively removed nearly 120 million fake accounts between January and June of 2025, I know for a fact this loophole is still effective, as we have a close family friend who has a business here in Austin, where he recently had several of his new hires get contacted by scammers posing as a company through the LinkedIn accounts, asking them to send money for new equipment before their start date. Where despite several attempts to resolve this issue, not only was he unable to remove this posting, but LinkedIn supposedly was unable to remove the listing and was not able to stop the outreach, where he ultimately had to delete the company's profile entirely. And while LinkedIn's privacy...
Now, I'm going to say this too. I got scammed on LinkedIn. I'm going to tell you how. So I got contacted with this particular company that was supposed to be a customer service job. And I should have known better. But look, desperation brings out, stupidity in people sometimes. And I was stupid. I'm going to tell you, I was stupid. And so the post listed something like $60,000 to $80,000 a year for a customer service position. That should have been a red flag for me there. But desperation, right? And so I applied. And they had me do an interview with an AI. And it wasn't to actually give me a job. Essentially what it was AI was training itself by using me without giving me an actual job. It was just testing it on potential applicants. So there was no job. They just wanted to use me as a guinea pig to test their AI. That's what's going on now. No hiring, just scamming. Oh, boy. Thank you very much for this, Damon.
Entirely. And while LinkedIn's privacy policy suggests it does not share personal data with non-affiliated advertisers, the data is shared with Microsoft, who owns LinkedIn. And while Microsoft also claims to not sell your personal data, they share personal information with third parties for personalized advertising purposes, where journalist Bob Sullivan points out that Equifax, with the aid of thousands of HR departments across the country, have assembled one of the most powerful private databases of Americans' personal information ever created. Weekly data from 75% of Fortune 500 companies, 85% of the federal workforce, and countless other institutions flow into these databases. Major corporations including Facebook, Amazon, Oracle, AT&T, and Microsoft contribute extensive information from social security numbers, salary details, healthcare coverage, and job tenure. And with the data broker economy expected to surpass $500 billion within the next 3 years, LinkedIn's real product is no longer access to jobs or networking. It's your personal information.
So, hang on. Let me say something here. Because when I talk about having like a federal jobs guarantee or nationalizing things, I love when people go, "Oh, you want the government to have access to that?" As if I want the government that's currently being ran by our corporations to have access to it. That's not what I'm talking about. I want the government to be in the hands of the people and keep corporations and government completely separate. And then, yes, they have access to that because therefore it's not for profit. And so therefore they're just trying to use it for as a public good. But see what happens when your information is in the hands of corporations where there's monetary gain involved? See what happens? See what happens when there's monetary gain involved when it comes to our defense for our wars? More wars happen. You see what happens when there's monetary gain in our healthcare system? Go, guess what? If the sicker you are, the more money they can make off of you. Same thing with education. Remember all these for-profit colleges? How many of y'all remember Everest University? All those advertisements of coming to school here. right? See, that's the crazy part. It's like every single time there is an essential service that actually is fundamental for our survival, whenever you put a paywall behind it, that means that somebody is going to get shafted some way, say in some shape or form. So no, it should not be in a system that is for profit. And governments, particularly the federal government, does not need to make money. It is a currency issuer, not a currency user. They make the money and they dole it out to everybody. And the only reason for taxation is to really to prevent inflation. Let's continue on.
To further this illusion, many hiring agencies currently use AI-generated recruiters on LinkedIn, complete with fabricated work and education histories, to reach out to candidates with motives unrelated to actually hiring. A study by the Stanford Internet Observatory uncovered over 1,000 of these AI-generated profiles, with more than 70 businesses listed as employers, flooding candidates with the illusion they were offering a job, simply to extract your personal data. And this is
so essentially, when it comes to working a job, she's just not that into you, bruh, because she ain't real. All these people that are in, look, I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me open my phone real quick. All these people that are in my DMs on LinkedIn, about half of these people in my DMs are fake. They're fakety fake. I would show the names in here, but there's some people who are real that I do know. But here's the crazy part. How many of these I see? I see all these different messages to me. And that's it. And half these people are not even real. They're just trying to perfect their AI. Man.
That's why I use Delete Me. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service.
All right. So he's talking about, you got to go over the. All right. Sorry, dog, but I know you're trying to do your thing, but it's not my subscription.
For the jobs and recruiters not tainted by outright deceit or data harvesting, LinkedIn has still reshaped hiring into a process rooted far more in surface-level assessment than genuine evaluation, with roughly 75% of qualified applications never even being seen by a human, and those that do make it through receiving just 6 to 8 seconds of attention. Hiring has become a system of rapid judgment, where 40% of recruiters now admit to hiring candidates based solely on LinkedIn profiles, embedding itself as the assumed standard in hiring, one that has little to do with actual qualifications and everything to do with the perception of fitting a recruiter's preferred mold. This is most visibly reflected in LinkedIn's Open to Work banner, which is no longer interpreted as a sign of availability, but as a marker of desperation. Nolan Church, a former Google recruiter, has called it the biggest red flag in hiring, signaling that a candidate needs the role rather than is actively being sought after. According to Lindsay Mustaine, a former Amazon recruiter, recruiters want a candidate because hiring is fundamentally about power dynamics, and appearing available shifts that balance unfavorably. In this pursuit of
So I have that banner across my profile picture, and they won't hire me because to them I seem desperate. What type of what type of arrogant, pompous mindset that, oh, well, we need to want somebody. They want us to be basically the unattainable. That's basically, all right. That's hoish behavior. Trying to get with somebody that ain't yours. trying to get a candidate for a job that ain't your employee. They already got a job. Like what? Are you kidding me right now? They already got a job, and you're like, hey, I want that person. Even though we're right here going, hey, I'm available, I'm qualified, I can do the job. They're like, beat it, Buster. I want that one. The one that's not even looking. Yeah. Look at their chops like, oh, I want that one. Like, the hell? Is this some predatory? Did I just lick my lips on stream? I'm going to kick myself in the morning for that one. But anyways, yes, that's the problem with the system. Anyway, let's continue on. I'm already embarrassed.
Perception, LinkedIn's emphasis on image extends far beyond a banner. Recruiters increasingly treat employment gaps as red flags, with 77% saying they indicate a need for additional training, 74% associating them with outdated skills, and 70% assuming unemployment reflects lower productivity. And LinkedIn's data-driven system reinforces these biases by suppressing profiles without present listed, placing early career workers at an even greater disadvantage, while quietly encouraging misrepresentation, performative gratitude, and a comparison culture that narrows the definition of what it even means to be qualified. Now, you would hope.
So basically, essentially, if you are not currently working, you're shadow banned. You're shadow banned on LinkedIn. And all these people who are complaining that they just can't find a job when they said they put in all these applications, they're not lying. Nobody's actually looking at them. Nobody's actually hiring them. And a lot of these businesses are not hiring because they want to, one, operate with a skeleton crew. Two, you're being discriminated against because you are an American citizen and they can't exploit you as easily as they can somebody who's an immigrant, which is horrible. And then three, if you've went a certain amount of time between jobs, then they see you as undesirable. That's like going without a romantic partner. That's like being in a romantic relationship until you're 25, and then you remain single until you're 35, and then somebody rejects you and says, oh, well, you haven't had a romantic partner? That must mean there's something wrong with you. There's a red flag there, even though you might have been just working on yourself. Or you could have been, instead of going to school, you could have been learning stuff, on your own. Like when it comes to social media management, when it comes to public relations, when it comes to being able to present, as well as when it comes to being able to edit, produce, host content, I got 5 years on that. 5 years on that. And yet, for some reason, because I haven't worked an extended period of time, we it's just a red flag. Even though I acquired these skills when I didn't have a job. Would you say I'm not qualified based on just my duration of not having had a job? Now that I have this channel and that I am, and this channel is growing, by the way. It may not be growing as fast as others, but it's growing. By the way, hit subscribe. But that's the thing, right? And this is one of the biggest issues that I see with some recruiters is it's almost like they haven't caught up with the times. They haven't expanded their mind when it comes to people who work now. And so people are constantly being screwed, and then it's almost like a vicious cycle. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyway, let's continue.
Now, you would hope that despite LinkedIn's job searching mechanism being completely broken, that at least their networking would be effective. I'm here to tell you that not only is 54% of posts AI generated, but the majority of comments are as well. And LinkedIn isn't just aware of this issue, they are actively supporting it. The former head of feed relevance, Adam Wolkowitz, responded to headlines suggesting most of the content on LinkedIn is fake by reiterating that the site encourages the proper use of AI to help with the review of a draft or to beat the blank page problem, aka corporate slop. The CEO of LinkedIn, Ryan Roslansky, champions the use of AI at the firm so fervently, he admits to using it himself when writing emails to his boss, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. But on the bright side, even with all of that said, LinkedIn's premium career, which allows you to actually utilize their networking and suggests you have a 43% higher likelihood to actually get a message back from a recruiter, is having their membership on sale from $39.99 a month to $19.99 when you pay for it annually.
And I get proposed with this over and over and over. Oh, pay for LinkedIn Premium so that you can find a job faster. If I could pay for it, then I wouldn't need a damn job. Then I wouldn't need y'all. Wait a minute. Damon's gonna take us there. Hang on to your hats, y'all. All right.
Now, even with the many things wrong with LinkedIn, obviously there are people that are still benefiting from it. There are still people that are getting jobs on LinkedIn, and there are still people that are effectively networking. I think that LinkedIn is almost the perfect representation of the K-shaped economy that we're participating in. If you have the $39.99 or the $19.99 to be able to spend every single month to be able to actually network on the platform, or if you already have a seasoned resume with the qualifications and experiences needed for LinkedIn to actually deem you worthy of being promoted on the platform, well, yeah, LinkedIn's probably working out quite well for you. For everybody else, the individuals that are trying to enter into the job market, that are trying to make a career pivot, or God forbid, have a gap on your resume because, life happened, you had a medical emergency, or you started to raise some kids, or...
Hang on. Let's go back there for a second.
Because, life happened, you had a medical emergency, or...
Like being on kidney dialysis and having a kidney transplant?
You started to raise some kids, or maybe you got laid off? Well...
Like when the election in 2024 ended and I was no longer with a job because the election ended and I was press secretary for Jill Stein. Yeah. And it wasn't their fault. It's the election ended. So, yeah, that job was temporary. But was it really my fault? Right? Thank you very much for that, Damon. I'm sorry, Damon. I keep mispronouncing his name, but thank you.
Well, you're kind of just your host.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you are actually being algorithmically suppressed.
Yep.
Based off of this platform, because the recruiters, in their eyes, you're only worthy to be hired if you have a LinkedIn platform, but because you aren't being promoted, it's negatively affecting your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's think about it. What incentive does LinkedIn have to make anything better? Do they want you to actually network to the point to where you do get a good job and you don't need the platform anymore? Or you just get a job regardless, and now you don't really have to kind of be a shill for the corporations?
And there it is. Whoop, there it is. LinkedIn wants to keep you jobless so that you keep needing them. This is the equivalent of the medical industrial complex that is owned by private corporations that need to keep you sick so that they can constantly treat you so that they can keep making money. This is the equivalent of the military industrial complex that says they want peace, but they'll keep forming reasons in order to go to war so they can keep building weapons of war so that it keeps going. It's all part of the cycle, man. This is employment version of planned obsolescence. Make you think something's working for you and then it doesn't. Or if it does work for you, it's only very temporary and then you need them again. Also, the people who are at the top at LinkedIn can keep raking in the dough because it's a corporation. And so when we say something like, oh, we need a federal jobs guarantee, that means it's taking the job, or that's taking basically the market share from places like LinkedIn and Indeed and Glassdoor and put it in nonprofit hands of the government instead, who doesn't need to make money. And then they go, we have all these people waiting for jobs. Let's place them in jobs. And then they'll actually do it. Instead of, oh, well, one day you just keep fighting and you'll get that job. Oh, you didn't get it? Oh, rats. Well, here's $39.99 that you can do if you pay for it. We'll give you an entire year of premium if you pay $39.99 a month. Or you just pay $19.99 a month. All right? But I can't afford $19.99 a month because I ain't got no job. Well, I guess you're just screwed then. Because you need us, right? You need us. So pay up or stay unemployed. But you can't pay up if you ain't got a job. I wish this wasn't water right now. But this is part of why this system is so terrible. Because they will dangle your desperation in your face, and they will come up with a solution, which is not actually a solution. It just keeps you coming back so that they can keep making money off of you. You're the cow they keep milking. That's what you are. That's all you are to them. This is why I wanted to react to this, because this was desperately needed.
No, they want things to actively keep getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
For a fact, about a year ago, I made a LinkedIn video, and in that, I also included the success rate of an application resulting in a hire. Back then, you could go through all of the different data that LinkedIn presents, and you can see how many applications happen every second and every minute, and then you can kind of calculate what an hour is and all of these different things. During that period of time last year, not only would you see the applications, you would see the hires. So it was like every 9,000 applications would result in 6 hires every minute. Now that has scaled up to about 11,000 applications. The unique thing is that the hires isn't there anymore. It does not exist. That proves that they know it's not working. Why would you get rid of that? It's because it's a negative reflection on what it is that you're doing. Not only that, they made it harder to find. It took me like 30 minutes to even find where you can get to that data point. The reality is that we, as a society, we're participating in a nation of posers. The individuals in power, in the leadership positions, the ones that are succeeding in a dishonorable way, I would say, don't actually know how to do anything. They have tricked themselves into thinking that, and tricked us into thinking that a hard day's work is filled with meetings and Zoom calls and emails and text messages. And that's kind of all you got to do. All done. Now,
and that is basically how billionaires work. Oh my God, I'm always working. I work this many hours a week and I'm always working. I work hard. No, the hell they don't. They will never in their life work as hard as you or I because they just learn how to exploit people better. That's it. And like Damon said, this nation is a nation that's run by posers. They do not know what the heck they are doing. All they are just drones chasing the dollar. That's it. They're a hamster on the wheel. A wheel that deserves to be broken. Because every single time it turns, it hurts one of us. It hurts many of us. It hurts all of us. And so this is why this capitalist system needs to end. This is why we talk about doing mutual aid. This is why we talk about building dual power. Because the system is predicated on the small few maximizing as much profit and resources as possible. And essentially, we are just the servants for this very small group of people. That's all we are. Are you done being a servant? Because I sure as the hell am. I'm not going to play the entirety of this video, but I wanted to cover the first part of what Damon covered, because it is important that we realize that even when it comes to looking for a job, the system is rigged against us. And this is why it's important that we do what we can and help each other out as much as we can when it comes to doing mutual aid. Over the weekend, I went to my sister Sabby Sabs. She had a mutual aid workshop. Where were you? Did you join in? Were you listening in? Are you going to start a mutual aid in your area? Go join a couple friends and do it? Are you going to be helping out your fellow neighbors? Because this system, it's just a hamster wheel that you're running and you're not going anywhere. It's like being on a treadmill. I can walk 10,000 steps on a treadmill and went nowhere. And so that's why it is so important for us to pay close attention and have solidarity with our fellow workers. Because number one, we're being excluded and we're suffering. And then you have another group that's being exploited and they're suffering. On RBN on Sunday, I just talked about how unemployment among Black people is 7.5% compared with the rest of the country at around 4.3%. And so it's even worse for those of us who are marginalized. So this is why we have to see ourselves within each other. And if you know of any job openings anywhere and you know somebody's looking for something, don't be afraid to, slide them the job opening, where to go, who to talk to. Put in a good word for them if you know them. Because people are suffering everywhere. So this is why I'm a big fan of things like a federal jobs guarantee, because that would really be a big help. But you can't really do that unless you change the system. So we do what we can when we can and however we can, but just know LinkedIn is trash. And there are other resources that you can use to get places. Like I'm using Indeed right now, but even then, like what incentive do they have if you get a job, right? You don't need them no more. So that's why I went to Twitter and I was like, hey, if you guys know any places hiring, send me a link so that I can apply. Same thing to you guys. If you guys know a job that's hiring within the Orlando area, send me a link to my email. It's linked down below. Let a brother know. Right? And I'm not being extremely picky right now because beggars can't be choosers. I hate that phrase, but it's true right now. So for those of you who are searching, my heart's with you, and I'm in the trenches with you. But stay off of LinkedIn. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for that. I'm going to put the link for that video in the chat as well as in the description so that you guys can actually watch it later. The rest of the video, I only showed about half of it, but that was deeply informative. I always like Damon's videos as well. And, in regards to, he talks a lot about working class issues. So here's the link in the chat so you guys can finish watching the rest of it later. Let's go into the Kick chat to see if we have any gifted subs, any chats on Kick. So looks like we are good on Kick. All right, we got a couple viewers. Nice to see. All right, let's go into Rumble. Rumble in the jungle. All right, so we're good on Rumble rants. All right, let's get into the rest of the chat. All right. Fire Repo became a YouTube member. Clap it up for Fire Repo. Thank you so very much for becoming a member on YouTube. Yes, I have memberships again. And thank you so very much. Good to have you here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's go into the next super chat. Thank you for this, Roger. He says, how good are you at making turkey chili? Check DM. I'd say I do pretty good on a chili. My turkey meatloaf is slamming though. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, and another one. It's so. Look, I hate when I make my turkey meatloaf because I will eat and I'll be full, but I don't want to stop. It's like that song with Michael Jackson and that lady that was singing, I just can't stop loving you. Because when I stop, there's nothing in this world would I do. I don't know the rest of the words, but is that good? That turkey meatloaf is the bombdiggity.com. Anyway, let's go into the rest of the chat. All right. Interesting. So Sila says, how is this different from when the newly freed Africans within the USA during Reconstruction? Also, requirements for USA citizenship is a job. Capitalist tech bros are the enemy. Roger Meadows. I mean, look, they complain about they literally complained about former slaves taking all their jobs. So, it's the cycle continues. Let me see. Kurt Boss says everyone should be terrified of digital ID. Brian Ripple, who is now a JB member, says, I was just in the kitchen getting angry with myself for not going balls out when I graduated high school in 1990. I needed to have my now level of education and experience to help others see through. Thank you very much. Kerboss said, I stopped looking for anything in this system and I feel much better for it. The systemic is totally criminal and military those two imperatives only matter and you don't matter, or their sick society. Let me see. Holly says laid off. Yeah, I was. Well, technically, laid off is, even that is a little bit of a strong word. My position ended because the election ended. That's basically what it was. Oh, Fire Ripple says, oh, I'm sorry. Roger says, I have a business proposition for him as a culinary expert. We can all pitch in, buy food from him, and help get his money up where he makes it into a business, creating his own job, then transition to a worker cooperative. The only problem is that having a, I don't know. See, I mean, I probably could do a restaurant, but it could be like a restaurant or a food truck. But the only problem with that is that it's not really for me anymore. Like, I mean, I can cook, but I don't know. And I did it. I was in the industry for a few years before I got sick, and so I know what I'm doing in a kitchen. I don't know. I have to give it some thought. But yeah, thank you very much. Let me see. Caden says, I never used LinkedIn. I always thought it was bougie BS. Turns out I was right. Well, I mean, you're confirmation. Arlen Chambers says, absolutely, JB. Thank you very much. Let me see here. Fire Ripple says, loves your bruv. Your education here matters. We must rally our pennies in the right direction. Thank you very much. Human Rights for All says all about the military. What can you do? What can you do? Wars for profit on the lives of our children. Yeah. Thank you very much. And Fire Ripple says, just fire. Good. Thank you so very much. All right. So we're going to get into the last one. And am I going to end on time? Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to end on time. This is good. Okay. Let's get into the final segment. I am so excited. Oh my goodness. And I just can't hide it. And then also I'm gonna share a really funny video with you guys too towards the end. It's gonna be glorious. It's gonna be glorious. I cannot wait. You guys are gonna laugh. But anyways, let's get into some good news, baby. This is some good. We just got finished talking about jobs, but this is gonna be related. So let's get into this. Okay, I am so excited. This makes me happy. All right, so we're gonna talk about great news out of Jones High School. We're going to be talking about this. And I just want to say to the students at Jones High School, baby, congratulations. This is good, y'all. Oh my goodness. Jones High School. Congratulations to every single one of y'all. All of the entire student body. I am very happy for you guys. Now, if anybody knows, Jones High School is a predominantly Black high school in Orlando. But it's not just that. It's also in one of the most economically disadvantaged zip codes in Central Florida. It's the hood, y'all. It's the hood. And the thing is these kids go day in and day out trying to apply themselves and do the best that they can, despite a system that continuously throws them into the dirt. And it shouldn't have to come to this, but it does, right? This shouldn't have to be, this should just be a normal thing, but I'm glad it's happening to these kids. And I say these kids because essentially they're old enough to be my kids, right? I'm moisturized though, right? I look that good, right? Anyway, but this is something that I really wanted to share because this is an exciting thing that has just taken place. And so I want to go over the details and I want to talk about it. And I want you guys to tell me what you think of this. And if you are in another city, another state, if you are part of any other foundations, could you help do this for the high school local to you in your area? Let's get into this. This is exciting. All right, guys, let me share this about the entire student body. All right, guys, let's go. Oh, hang on. Oh, make sure the sound is all the way up so y'all can hear everything. Okay, let's go.
It's a life-changing announcement for nearly 1,600 students. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and we're at Jones High School. We're just on the other side of these doors. Every student here found out they'll have a big opportunity after high school, one that comes free of financial burden.
Every student, a full tuition scholarship. Yes.
Let's go!
Absolutely stoked.
Jesus Salinas was among the entire student body at Jones High School, nearly 1,600 of them, all learning they're getting free tuition to Valencia College.
I mean, hearing them actually saying that we have a full ride to Valencia, that's like, man, my heart was beating back there.
I'm really excited, and I'm excited for the students who felt like there's no option.
The surprise coming.
Hell yeah, you better be excited. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Be excited. This is good news. Everybody put some claps in the chat. If I could drop a beat, I would. This is great. These kids have been going through so much. You got to remember, right? It is 2026 now, right? In 2020, a lot of these kids, either they were just starting, hang on, 2026. A lot of these kids, all these kids, essentially, they were enduring the pandemic in middle school. They were enduring the pandemic in 2020. By the time it was 2022, the seniors are just getting in, starting high school in 2022. And so they had to start high school in the middle of a pandemic. And then post-pandemic. And so things are just getting back to normal. So this is for the entire student body. This is freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, all get a full ride to a community college. All of them. All of them. All of them. Yes. In one of the most economically disadvantaged area in Central Florida. This is good news. This is what I wanted to show y'all. This is what I'm excited about. Look at little sister right there. Got her baby hairs all right. We see you. We see you, little sis. We see you.
Option.
The surprise coming through donors to the Valencia College Foundation, including Lift Orlando, the nonprofit dedicated to strengthening historic neighborhoods around Camping World Stadium.
A special milestone for us. It's our hope for Jones High School to be known as a school where 100% of our kids go to college and have brilliant careers.
The scholarships can be used toward an associate degree or hands-on technical training programs at Valencia.
Talking with them about different.
So this isn't just for college, for an associate's degree. It's vocational technical school. So you can choose either. Because that was my concern too. I was like, well, what about the kids who want to just, be hands-on or work with their hands, or they want to do like technical training? Well, guess what? It's for them too. So if you want to do auto tech, if you want to do plumbing, if you want to do welding, if you want to get into electrician, you can do that too. Now I'm going to say this. To all the female students at Jones High School, if you ever are watching this right after you guys just got this gift, have you considered getting a technical vocational training in one of the fields like electrician or plumbing or carpentry, auto tech? Because yes, these are male-dominated fields, but I want to see more young women get into these fields too. Don't let it just be male dominated. Look, you have the brains and the aptitude to do these as well. So get into it. Get in what you fit in, sis. And to my male students, my young men out there, if you could use that associate's degree to get in more female dominated fields, why not, bruh? Do your thing. Because if that's where your heart leads you, let it lead you there. But by all means, utilize this and do not let this go. This is a gift. Now, this should be standard for everybody. Everybody should get a full ride, no matter who you are, your economic standing. As long as you pass high school, you should be able to go to college. But we don't live in that system right now. However, this is a win for these kids, and I applaud it because I like to see these kids win, and I want to see them win more and more, and I'm actually happy about this. Now, as much as I say about the nonprofit industrial complex, and yes, I got so many issues with them, but this one thing I will say is a good thing, and I do applaud this action. Now, devil's in the details, right? When it comes to GPA and things like that, of course, right? But you also should be able to at least pass these classes in order to be able to go to school, right? But outside of that, I don't think there should be any barriers. Just pass high school. Now, that'll put a fire in your belly to graduate, right? All right, let's continue on.
Talking with them about different possibilities, about different career pathways, helping them envision a future for themselves and their families that perhaps they used to think was out of reach, but now is possible as a result of today's announcement.
Man, I feel determined to actually go to college now.
An opportunity many thought wouldn't be possible, but is now fueling motivation and hope.
Thank you, really. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
In Orlando, Mark Lehman, News 6.
So that was amazing news. And y'all, I mean, all the negative news that we hear all the time, we have to hear this news in order to know why the system is the way it is, in order to be able to combat against it. But I want the good news to influence you in your brain. Let it melt into your cerebellum so that it gives you the idea, hey, if we get a new system built and get rid of this old one, we can implement this on a national level. And so this is one of the things that I've been wanting people to learn more about, to inform people that, hey, we can actually do this for all of our kids. And so I applaud this because, man, like I said, I want the world to win. These kids are marginalized already as is. This is a predominantly Black school with a lot of brown kids, a plurality of brown kids, and, a minority of white and Asian kids. And so they already have strikes against them. And on top of this, those of us who are Black American, we're due reparations. And any win I see of somebody that's marginalized, I celebrate because they need a leg up. And you know what? I get a point to people go, oh, well, we shouldn't be accepting handouts. I say, screw that. Give me the handout and give me what's owed. Because guess what? Because we have suffered enough. We have suffered way too much. So handout, yeah, give it to me. I don't care. Look, pride for me done went out the window. As long as it doesn't cost my integrity, as long as it doesn't cost me standing in solidarity with my people, as long as it doesn't cost that, all right, I'll take the handout. Is that when it costs my integrity, when it costs solidarity with the people, when it costs my self-respect, then that's when I stop. But if you're just giving it to us because, hey, we're disenfranchised, okay, cool. But we're still going to change the system and make sure that everybody has this automatically. This ain't stopping us. This ain't excuse me, a good news story of, oh, the system works. No, the system don't work. That's why you got to do this. But we're going to make the system that does work so that we don't have to do this anymore. And so with this good news, y'all celebrate it, because we need more of these stories to keep happening. And so how do y'all feel? I know y'all excited right now. I am too. I'm excited for these kids, man. Especially if you're a senior, that means you got 4 months left and you already know that you at least can get your associates at Valencia. And here's the thing. Now, if they want to further and get their bachelor's, then that means they would have to apply and go to UCF or USF or Florida A&M or what have you. And that's okay. But part of that expense is now out of the way. That at least saves them money. And if you're planning on going to get a technical education, that's pretty much completely full ride, right? Because that's what, at maximum 2 years education. So then you can do that. And there are and I'm pretty sure they have technical education for things like in the medical field, like radiology and things like that. So why not? I think this is beautiful, man. This is powerful. Let me take a look here. Whoop. All right. So a nonprofit provides Jones High School students with full scholarships to attend Valencia College. Says every student will receive full tuition paid for, and they will have 5 years to earn a degree. Says several seniors said receiving the scholarship is helping them start working towards their future goals. How many kids who couldn't afford college, they kind of just almost were thinking about just giving up? Or if they couldn't afford to go to technical school, they kind of were just like giving up. Or they thought, oh man, it's going to be a harder road ahead of me because I'm going to have to get financial aid. Now, some of them still may have to get financial aid if they want to further their education, but it's not going to be as big of a burden. And if you're getting a technical vocational education, then guess what? It's pretty much free and clear. Bro, that's crazy, man. And it's not like they have to have room and board. Like they literally live, like Valencia is what? Shoot. I know the campus on Kirkman, it's like a 15-minute drive. With traffic, it's probably 20. That's it. It's not far. So they can stay local and go straight to school. My goodness, this is great. And another senior says it gives even the lower classmen, freshmen and sophomores, it gives them an idea of what they want to do. Imagine being a freshman or a sophomore and you know already that you have a full ride once you graduate. Then that means that the possibilities are like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. The disease of despair is not weighing on you anymore when it comes to your education, or it's weighing a lot lighter. Powerful, man. Powerful, 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 powerful. And of course, look, if that was my kid, man, I'd be so happy right now. I'd be ecstatic. And so that would light a fire under me to get even better grades. I don't know, man. I just would. But let me know what you guys think. This is a beautiful story. And I encourage, other areas, other cities to do this. I encourage them to do this in more schools. Like, what about Oak Ridge High School? What about Evans, right? These are predominantly Black and brown schools within the area, right? Who are also from disadvantaged communities. Evans, serves a lot of Pine Hills. Oak Ridge serves a lot of near the Florida Mall, and they serve a lot of near Millennia. So I would encourage them to do this also for other high schools, and especially in disenfranchised areas, because the kids need it, right? And imagine what this does for their mental health in a positive way. That's what we're here to do. We're here to celebrate things like this as well, because that's all. It's literally leaving the world better than you found it. Soak in this great news, guys. Soak it in. All right, everybody. That's the final segment. Please go ahead and give a like to the stream. That story got me hype. That story got me hype. It is such a beautiful story, and I am so happy for those kids. I feel like it happened to me, man. If I keep talking about it, I might start crying because it's that awesome. So we're good on Kick. We're good on Rumble. Let's go into the chat. I'm excited to see what y'all got to say. Let me see. Let me see here. All right. Thank you for this super chat, Roger. He says, not a food truck, but a mailing food flash frozen. I mean, flash or... I'm sorry. Flash frozen. I'm completely sober. This is water, y'all. I promise. Stay tuned because I got something funny to show y'all too. Oh man, Human Rights for All says, way to go, Jones High School. Yes, absolutely. Fire says, flash frozen and vacuum sealed. The super nutrient dense, easily grown purple sweet potatoes can feed millions reasonably. Absolutely. John Kemper, aka Blue Marble, aka Adam Bashir, the heroes coming in here saying peace, love, and solidarity. Good to see you. Yes, Holly. Wow is the correct word. Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh. Isn't this exciting? Wow. Edward says, congratulations, Jones High. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. John Kemper says, just hope some foundation isn't going to pocket it. I hope not, but I don't think that's going to happen. But, crazier things have happened. Crazy Cat giving the applause. What did Lady Gaga say? I stand here waiting for you to bang the gong. Sheila says, agree, JB. You should be encouraged to seek careers beyond societal limitations, environmental restoration, water, land, food inspectors, building restoration with alternative materials and energies like hemp. Hempcrete. Oh my God. Look up hempcrete. Oh my gosh. Revolutionary. Roger says, just make sure that when y'all go off to college to use a Roger, I know it's important, but come on, man. So you know how many women I graduated high school with dropped out freshman year in college because they went wild and got pregnant. That is true. Y'all need to wrap it up. Boys, dudes, y'all. If you waste that scholarship, you're gonna have to deal with me. I'm a real G. You better not waste it. Take your ass to technical school, vocational school, become an electrician or something like that. Yeah, you're gonna come home smelly and dirty while wearing a jumpsuit, but you'll be making some decent money while doing it. And then, if you want to start a family, start a family. If you don't, if you just want to own cats, dude, just own cats. Or just pet rocks. I don't care. But make a life for yourself. Do something good. And then do some mutual aid. Roger Meadows says, you flash now, I'm frozen. Look, I'm going to tell you like Elsa said, let it go. Let it go. And Roger says, James, you can put your flash frozen fruit dinners in hemp cardboard so it's microwave safe. Nice idea. Sean Rock says, what advice for properly using upscrolled now? Oh, you mean upscrolled? Oh, by the way, yeah, guys, I'm on upscrolled now. So since a lot of people are now leaving Twitter TikTok, because these Zio billionaires are basically taking control of it, and now they're censoring people left and right. A lot of people are now leaving Upscroll. Upscroll is actually the number one growing app in the United States right now. And Upscroll was actually created by a Palestinian whose family, I think over 60 family members of his were murdered in Gaza. And so he does not want free speech to our speech to be in the hands of big corporations and billionaires and Zionists. So Upscroll was created. It has a couple bugs, not gonna lie, but it is way better than being suppressed. And I'm gonna tell you right now, with the amount of people that I have following me, my notifications have been blowing up. It's crazy. And you're not shadow banned. So it's great for at least right now. So a lot of people are talking about the upscroll phenomenon right now. I say if you are thinking about it, go ahead and do it. It doesn't hurt. Also, if you have joined upscroll, and if you find it pretty decent or like it, make sure that when you go into the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, also rate it. And if you legitimately like it, rate it high, give it like 5 stars, and leave a good review. And because honestly, Larry Ellison deserves to be embarrassed. That's what I'll say. Embarrass the billionaire. I should make that into a shirt. But yes. And thank you for this fire says, or mushroom styrofoam. Yes, and spell check FBO. All right, guys, let me get into this one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think this is worthwhile. I think this is something funny to share with you guys while I am about to leave. It's something I showed my mom this, and she was basically bent over and laughing. So let me share. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Okay. Make sure I got this. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you guys this one question. Do you know the Muffin Man? You're about to right now. Let's get into it.
Hey, Ariel, are you ready? Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on the Hey, Ariel, are you ready? Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on the
Whoo! Lord. Oh my gosh. When I first heard that, I was on the floor. I was on the floor. It was beautiful. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it gets even better, y'all. Let me share this with y'all. When it comes to the Muffin Man, the power of the price compels you. Let's go. Let's go, y'all.
Do you love the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man, the Muffin Man.
Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury
Hallelujah. Oh, yes, I know
the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
Oh, I know
The Muffin Man
who lives on Drury. Oh my gosh. I hope y'all love it. Can't take black people nowhere. We cannot take anything seriously. Oh my gosh. Anywho, guys, I cannot wait to see you guys again for next Tuesday. It's going to be a good show. Yes, Hemcar, I actually knew white slavers used to eat their slaves. Just bought a book called Edible People. Yes, we used to. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, right? We got it. I'll talk about it one day on the show. But yes, everybody is cracking up. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man was just he was here. Hemcar, was that Whitney Houston? No, but it was damn close. Sean said, "Girl, sing it." Absolutely. Muffin Man was a Do you know? I'm not even gonna try to sing, but man, amen and amen. Tori, girl, you know. Tori, I know the Muffin Man. Do you know the Muffin Man? Bryce, it's up scrolled. Yeah, up scrolled. Yeah. All right, guys. Whew. Thank you so very much to everybody for tuning in today. It was a beautiful stream. Please continue to do the best you can to help out your neighbors and have solidarity with people. I know it is getting tough out here in these streets, but we can make it if we try. For the sake of you and I. Together we can make it right. What's it gonna be? No, sorry. Let me stop. Guys, take care. Water your plants, water yourselves. Leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. If you ain't got them, then watch something funny because joy is revolutionary. Read because reading is fundamental. I love you for being you and keep on keeping on. Love you so much. Mwah. Forehead kisses. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great evening and good night. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here.